They say Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, but for baseball fans, that's right about now, spring training. And I say that because it's the only time the fans of even the shitty teams can enjoy not being in a shitty place, like White Sox fans, Angels fans, I don't know, Rockies fans, all know they'll not be having a very fun time during the season. But for now, we can all have that innocent, loving, hopeful feeling that maybe, somehow, some way, that won't be the case. And the optimistic spring training side of me has opened up in a way I never have regarding certain things, notably a certain player I've been very down on the last couple of years, and that's Trevor Story. A man who, ever since signing his 6-year, $140 million contract 3 years ago, has performed just about as much as Bill Belichick does for his girlfriend in the bedroom. And it sucks. It really does. Story seems like a great guy, a hard worker. I mean, he wouldn't be a big leaguer making over $23 million a year if he wasn't. But I'll admit, I've really lost much interest in hoping he does much of anything in the last couple of years. I've just lost faith he can stay healthy and or perform to the caliber of player he used to be. But you know what? It's spring training time. It's a fresh start. Yeah, maybe my Red Sox bias is kicking in, but screw it. This could age poorly. I don't care. That's what comes with hopping on certain trains, like the Trevor Story redemption arc train. Really quick, as always, if you're part of the 53% of viewers not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button if you enjoy the videos, as when the Red Sox originally signed Trevor Story, it wasn't anything monumental or groundbreaking. It was actually during spring training. I remember it happening vividly. Like, I was there. The players were literally practicing on one of the backfields, and I even yelled out to Xander Bogaerts what had just gone down. This was Bogaerts' last season before leaving for San Diego on the ridiculous offer he just couldn't refuse. Contract talks for an extension between him and the Red Sox that spring, unfortunately, didn't go successful, obviously. So Story was definitely at the very least some sort of eventual replacement for Xander if he did leave, which eventually he of course did. And neither player has aged very well on their respective contracts. The Padres definitely have it worse considering how much longer they have Xander on the books for, and they're already trying to trade him. With 9 years left on his contract, the Padres are already trying to find a team to take him on. Good luck. And with Story, it's definitely not nearly as bad as that, with only 3 years left on the books for Boston. But it's still been very, very, very underwhelming up to this point. And that's because he's barely played. He suffered a serious injury in every one of his years as a member of the Red Sox, either in season or in spring training. And as a result, has only played a combined 163 games in 3 years. He played 94 in 2022, 43 in 2023, and then 26 in 2024. So it's not even as much of a talent regression issue as it is a simply staying healthy issue. So what the hell is going on? Why is he barely playing any games per year? Well, he started off with the team in 2022, even after signing with like 2 weeks to go before opening day, and as expected for someone who was just barely putting on the uniform and hitting the field with his new team before the season began, Story started off slow, really slow, and it took more than a month for him to hit his first home run in a Red Sox uniform. But that's when he went off. In a 12-game stretch from May 12th through the 24th, Story socked 8 home runs, 3 coming in one game, 21 RBIs, a slugging percentage over 800, which is insane. He was on fire. He did cool off a bit after that, get hit with a pitch in Tampa, a game I was also at and have a quick story for too, no pun intended. I was sitting in the Red Sox family section for that game. Story's parents and brother, I remember, were sitting right in front of me. I don't remember how I knew that, but I was there with my friend, and I just remember the whole mood being shitty when he had to leave the game because of that pitch hitting him on the wrist. And forget the rest of that game or the rest of that season. Basically, from that point forward all the way to now, Trevor Story's Red Sox career has been a whole lot of absolutely nothing filled with injuries. He came back only to go back on the injured list at the very end of the season because of a left heel contusion, and ended his first year in Boston only playing 94 games. So Xander leaves now. Story's going back to the position he's always played before signing in Boston, shortstop, until just 10 days into the new year in January, it's revealed Story has to get elbow surgery and is expected to miss at least part of the season. That part of the season spread all the way until August, where he'd come back to finish off the final 43 games without much to show for. So that's now 2 incredibly forgettable seasons other than that week and a half period in 2022. So 2024 finally has to be the year where the Trevor Story from Colorado comes back to play. And it really looked like it was going to be. The energy surrounding him was very high. All the players seemed to be very excited for him to be there and be ready to go and have a normal spring training for the first time as a member of the Boston Red Sox. I mean, things were looking really positive until...
Oh, he's in pain here. He is writhing in agony, and
this was like popping a big balloon. I mean, literally 8 games into the season and Story's already getting season-ending surgery again. You have got to be kidding me. And I'll be honest, this is when I was like, I'm done. I mean, come on. And considering the Red Sox have so many young players, especially infielders in the minor leagues on the way up and on the big league team already, at this point, I'm thinking, I mean, what is the point of Story being on this freaking team? We're now halfway through the contract. The only thing he's done is still that week and a half stretch in May in his first season. That's it. I mean, it's hard to get pumped for a guy who just cannot stay on the field if his life depended on it, or at least it obviously seems that way. Now, one thing the Red Sox have really been lacking for years is a leader. The guy who, if he talks, everyone in the clubhouse shuts the hell up. The Red Sox just haven't had that, and I'm not necessarily saying Trevor Story will ever 100% be that guy, because, I mean, first off, you gotta play. How can you say that with the way his Red Sox career has gone so far? But forget what he's done on the field, or the lack of what he's done on the field. I will say this, Trevor Story has really been someone a lot of players on the Red Sox have looked up to. He held the second annual quote-unquote Story Camp, where he hosts a number of other Red Sox players at his own facility in Dallas, Texas. Story really finds the value in working with his teammates and having them all work together before even spring training begins. And I mean, I think the initiative for him to do that is pretty cool. That is something a leader does. When he was hurt, he was also alongside Alex Cora on the dugout a lot, almost like he was the assistant manager or something. So I think Story is someone who's very involved and really wants to do everything he can to help the team win. I really do believe that. He's not just worrying about himself, and there just doesn't seem to be anything selfish about the guy. So that's obviously a big part of being a leader of a team and a group of any sort. But the other part is, you know, he's got to at least be on the field making somewhat of an impact. So where are we at with that? It's very easy to look at his numbers each season in Boston so far, but it's just as easy to see how many games he's played each year. You can't fully judge how well Story hit over such a small span of games coming back from injury each time. Here's what I look at. Here are Trevor Story's stats from 2016, his rookie year, up until when he signed the Red Sox contract. An .863 OPS and an average of 26 home runs a year. That's really good. For what Trevor Story was in Colorado, $140 million for 6 years is actually a perfect price for his value. Obviously, has he played up to that value? Of course not. Story was never the best hitter in the game, but the man hit while also providing great defense for the most part and elite speed. 2018, he was an all-star and hit 37 home runs. 2019, another all-star season with 35 more homers. 2021, his final year as a Rocky, an .801 OPS, 24 home runs. The point I'm trying to make here is obviously we're more than 3 years removed from Trevor Story playing a full season of productive baseball. I know. But we haven't seen Story get the opportunity to show if his talent is lacking. So you can't really say he's been regressing or he's washed, like I think a lot of people are at least thinking. He's been hurt like 80% of his Red Sox career so far. The games he has played were mostly after he came back from an injury. He just has to stay healthy. If Trevor Story stays healthy, am I predicting him to go out and hit 40 home runs and rival Aaron Judge for the MVP award? Yeah, why not? No, I'm kidding. But he doesn't need to be that. He never has needed to be that, and he's never been expected to be that. If Story can just stay healthy, no injury issues, which seems like a lot to ask, but think about it. He got hit on the wrist in 2022. He fell weird on his left shoulder last year during a play. Those are freak accidents. Similar to the stuff Chris Sale was going through in his last couple years in Boston. Freak accident after freak accident after freak accident. Just a disaster. Everyone calls him cooked. He gets traded to Atlanta and wins his first ever Cy Young Award. Again, I'm not saying Trevor Story is going to be insane and compete for the MVP award. I'm not going to say Trevor Story can be as an infielder what Chris Sale was as a pitcher in these similar scenarios. But if Story can just avoid any crazy injuries, who's to say he can't put up a solid above average season offensively to go with a solid glove? Now add that to what he's already provided with his leadership, and Story all of a sudden is changing the narrative of this contract. Now, could this also go the opposite way and 2025 ends up as another meaningless season for him? Maybe. Yeah, sure. But what else should I or any of us do? Root for him to fail? He's not actively trying to get hurt. He clearly wants to be out there. He's not Anthony Rendoning this shit. He cares, and I don't have any issue rooting for a guy who cares and has a history of talent that shows potential what he still could do. I really do believe Trevor Story isn't washed yet and has some pretty big seasons left in the tank. And if those pretty big seasons left kick off with 2025, depending on how good the Red Sox do too, this has the potential to be a comeback story for the ages. And if rooting for that makes me a sick man, put me right into that hospital bed. I have no issue with it. Let me know your thoughts and thank you for watching.